And joining me now in the studio is Mustafa Aydin, who's a professor of international relations at Kadir University, and Mohamad El-masry, who's an associate professor in the journalism and media and cultural studies programs at the Doha Institute. Gentlemen, welcome to both of you to Straight Talk. Good to have you on set. Now, with the 9 men accused of killing the country's top prosecutor, Hisham Barakat, the total number of those executed in the country related to this case is now up to 15. Mohamad, let me start with you. Many people in the country, as well as outside of Egypt, have called this case a monument to unfair trials in Egypt. Is that a fair assessment?
I think so. I mean, if there was ever a kangaroo justice system, it's what we're witnessing in Egypt, right? These 9 men were forced to confess to this crime under torture. Torture is widespread. It's systematic in Egyptian prisons. This has been uncovered by Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, Human Rights Monitor, and other human rights groups. There's no debate about it in any human rights circle. And this, moreover, isn't the first time we've seen people wrongly executed in Egypt. There have been several of these problematic executions after mass trials and mass death sentences. There was the famous Arab Sharkas case from a couple of years ago when 6 young men were executed for a crime that they could not have possibly committed because they were already in jail at the time the alleged crime was carried out. Okay,
Mustafa, I want to bring it in the conversation. Let's take a step back and take a look at it from Turkey's perspective. Yeah. Should Turkey have a legitimate concern here, or is this just sort of an expected knee-jerk reaction from a country that's not getting along with Egypt?
Well, it's a concern here. It's not only knee-jerk, of course. Turkey is a country in this region, is a very turbulent region, and wants to develop its relationship with Egypt, including Egypt, in the countries in the region. And Egypt is developing its relationship in certain ways in the Middle East and in the Mediterranean that's trying to kind of circle Turkey with different alliance systems. So Turkey has this legitimate concern that Egypt is moving in the wrong direction. And also Turkey is, as a country who's trying to exist as a democracy in this very difficult part of the world, seeing another country moving in the wrong direction, it's not a concerting idea.
Mohamad El-masry, how do you see the future relations?
I think it's going to continue to be rocky. You know, right now, Sisi is pushing through constitutional amendments that'll keep him in power until at least 2034. So there doesn't seem to be any sort of scaling back on the authoritarianism and the repression that we see in Egypt. And for the reasons the professor just mentioned and others, I think that we can expect that there'll be continued sort of rocky relations between Turkey and Egypt. I mean, there have been trade relations ongoing, but from a diplomatic standpoint, I think we're going to continue to see problems.
Just about 10 days ago, the first European Union-Arab League summit was held in Cairo. And the European Union came under a lot of heavy criticism because of its deafening silence of the executions in Egypt. Sort of accepting a red carpet invitation from the leader of a country where mass human rights violations are going on and where the death penalty had just been enforced. Mohamad, let me start with you. The fact that President Trump has chosen sort of not to promote human rights and democracy as part of his foreign policy, do you think this sort of emboldens the Egyptian leader?
I don't think there's any question. I mean, I've written about this. Trump has signaled that he effectively doesn't care about human rights. That's not his priority. And so that has given confidence to leaders like Sisi to carry out their repressive agendas. Now, in terms of this summit that took place the week before last in Sharm el-Sheikh, I think this was a deeply misguided move by these European leaders that took part. And mostly, you know, what you mentioned, the criticism, the reason why they're being criticized is because this served as an effective endorsement for Sisi and really for the executions, even though some of the leaders did pay lip service to human rights.
Do you think there's a double standard when you look at sort of how the European Union approaches various partners in the region? It's criticized Turkey a lot in terms of, is there a double standard here?
There is a double standard, but there is also a logic. If you look from the European perspective, they say, okay, Turkey is a partner country, so we criticize Turkey much more than any other country because Turkey wants to be part of the European Union. But we are not criticizing Egypt. We are trying to get connection to Egypt in order to change their attitude. Okay, this is a kind of an explanation, and it makes a logic. But again, European Union made its influence in international politics, especially since the end of the Cold War, with its values and ethics and ethical approach in politics. So if they are just forsaking this approach, then it's very difficult to see what difference that EU can make.
Okay, another area of conflict between Turkey and Egypt is the issue of energy exploration in the Eastern Mediterranean. Turkey has said that for anything to go ahead, the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus needs to be on board. This having a lot of difficulty convincing Egypt. Mustafa, let me start with you. The fact that the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus is only recognized by Turkey, does it sort of make things difficult for that side?
It does, but it's not only that. I mean, first of all, Turkey is the biggest, the country has the biggest shoreline in the Eastern Mediterranean, and it's not included in the discussion of this ISMET Energy Forum. That's first. The second is the Turkish Cypriots are part and parcel of the Republic of Cyprus, which is recognized entity. It doesn't matter that there is a Republic of Northern Cyprus, Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus, but they have been in negotiations for years with their Greek partners to solve the issue. And until that issue is solved, they are still part of that state that was established in 1960. So that gives a number of rights, including economic rights over any kind of energy finds in the Eastern Mediterranean to the Turkish Cypriots.
Mohammed, both Turkey and Egypt are two countries that are in search of energy sources. How important is this project for Egypt, the potential gas line between Cyprus and Egypt?
I think it's important. You know, as I mentioned a couple minutes ago, Sisi's mismanaged the economy. He invested billions of dollars into the Suez Canal project without doing a feasibility study. He promised that there would be billions more every year in annual revenue. That has not come to fruition. He's also spent $45 billion on a new capital city that will only serve Egypt's elites. There'll be a massive, tower, the tallest tower in Africa. There'll be a mega mall. There'll be a park. But meanwhile, 30% of Egyptians live on about $50 a month. So he's really sort of leaving out the common man. So this project is important, as are many other projects. I think the economy is really at the heart of Sisi's problems, and it's one of the things that's, leading to a greater sense of instability in the country. You mentioned stability a moment ago about the summit, and I don't want to take us too far back, but I just want to note that Egypt is more unstable now than it has been at any time in its modern history, and that's significant because Sisi came to power on a security and stability platform. By his own admission, there have been thousands of terrorist attacks, so he's been unable to contain that problem.
All right, Mustafa Aydin and Mohamad El-masry, good to have you on Straight Talk. Thank you for your analysis.
Thanks.